Life is like an airport where you don't know where.
Hello, I'm Tim Hellman.
And I'm Jake Tenpass.
And this is Movie Talk. Today we're going to review the movie The Master. It's Paul Thomas Anderson's... How many movies does he have, man?
So you got Heart 8, Boogie Nights, Magnolia,
Punch Drunk Love.
Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, and The Master.
So it's seven. Or six, yeah.
Yeah, six. Sure.
It's basically inspired by Scientology. Ron Hubbard is the inspiration for the Philip Seymour Hoffman character, and it also revolves around a character who just got out of the war. He's played by Joaquin Phoenix, and he suffers from
post-traumatic stress disorder, yes.
And alcoholism, which is partly part of the PTSD, and he meets the Philip Seymour Hoffman character, and they both become fascinated by each other, basically, and he becomes his favorite experiment for his cult religion. Every religion basically starts out as a cult, I think.
Yeah.
You can even say Jesus Christ, if you believe he actually existed, him and his followers were a cult at first, and then it developed into a religion.
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, being in America, where we can watch a number of young religions, from whether you're talking about Mormonism or whether you're talking about Scientology or whether you're talking about a number of other different faiths. There's lots of young religions in America.
Yeah.
There's the scene in the movie with the skeptic who says that the definition of cult, or the basis of cult, is any kind of a theory that can't be tested and is only left up to one person's decision or one person's discretion, as opposed to being something that can be scientifically tested, which of course Scientology...
Well, all religion is that way, though.
Well, but I think that's what makes Scientology unique, and why people have really mixed feelings about it. I mean, one of the many reasons people have mixed feelings about it is that it claims to be not just a religion, because of course Scientology says that you can be, like, for instance, Katie Holmes was Catholic, and they were like, well, Katie Holmes doesn't have to give up being Catholic in order to be a Scientologist. You can have your religion, and then Scientology is sort of like a philosophy also.
Okay.
So Scientology is kind of a religion, but it's kind of something else at the same time. You know, I think that's one of the things about the movie is, for me at least, that was interesting, was watching the evolution of the religion, because or the philosophy, or whatever you want to call it.
That was definitely my favorite part of the movie. I didn't really care for Joaquin Phoenix's character because he was just too unrelatable for me. His violent tantrums. They just didn't explain what drove him that way. I mean, other than the war, I guess, messed him up, but...
Well, I mean, and you know, and I guess that's part of the thing is you don't really need to. All you need to understand is that he's suffering, that he's got this problem that's getting in the way of him living a healthy, normal life. And of course, he's constantly experimenting and brewing up these weird cocktail creations out of things like developing fluid and, you know, chemical fertilizers. And, I mean, the stuff he drinks in there, I kind of wondered how much P.T. Anderson or whoever the screenwriter was had researched whether you could actually drink those. Because I swear some of those things would make you blind or would make you go insane, or definitely if you're looking for conventional character development, that's not what this movie offered. And I mean, I guess that's one of the things that I like about P.T. Anderson is he's one of those directors like Stanley Kubrick or like Akira Kurosawa or like Aronofsky in some ways, in that the way that the movie's made, the way it's edited, what they're putting the audience through is as much a part of the movie as like a conventional storyline or the conventional character development. So for me, for instance, there's a series of scenes in the movie where Joaquin Phoenix is asked to walk back and forth across this wall and touch this wood paneling and imagine what it is and talk about what it is, and then touch this window and describe what it is, imagine what it is. I mean, to me at least, what that was P.T. Anderson forcing the audience to experience what he experiences, because you have no idea why he's being forced to do that, and you sort of feel his frustration as that scene's continuing. And I almost felt like, in a way, if Philip Seymour Hoffman's character was trying to break him down so that he could build him back up in the image of the religion or the philosophy or whatever you want to call it, the audience was being broken down and built back up also. Like, I almost felt like he was intentionally trying to make the audience go through an indoctrination process similar to what the character's going through. So for me, I found that element of like endurance that you feel as a member of the audience in the movie to be, that's what made Joaquin Phoenix's character sympathetic.
I definitely think he was sympathetic in a lot of ways too, but I just didn't understand his motivations, what was driving him. Well,
I mean, I think one of his motivations clearly is that he has an inability to connect with women on any kind of an intimate level. He has a problem where he clearly doesn't have any sort of a father figure in his life. This religion sort of becomes both of those things, because Philip Seymour Hoffman's character becomes a father figure for him, and it becomes a way for him to get to the root of his problem with women. I definitely wouldn't say that, like, as a viewer, the movie was overall as satisfying as, say, There Will Be Blood was. I mean, Magnolia is one of my top 10 movies of all time, and I absolutely love Magnolia to death and think it's a stroke of genius.
That and Punch Drunk Love are my two favorite P.T. Anderson movies.
I really liked them all. Every time you go see one, you go into it with some expectations, and inevitably those expectations are totally shattered, and it's not exactly what you thought it was going to be, and in some ways you feel frustrated with it, but then the more you think about it and the more you talk about it, the more you begin to respect the way that he crafted it, the way that he did. And he makes weird choices, and he builds his characters strangely, and that's why I will go see every single P.T. Anderson movie when it comes out in the theater.
In contrast, when I think about like Magnolia, there were just so many characters in that I really liked.
Oh
in comparison to this.
You look at his early movies and they're all ensemble casts. They're all big ensemble casts. Heart 8, Boogie Nights, Magnolia. Punch Drunk Love started to strip it down a little bit. Yeah. And then this movie, again, it's all about, you know, essentially 3 characters. I mean, Amy Adams, you get a little bit. One thing I found that was interesting about it was there's that part where Philip Seymour Hoffman says, if you can go out and find a way to live your life without serving any master, then you'll be doing something that nobody else has ever done before. And of course, what I realized was that the master he serves is Amy Adams. I mean, that was my interpretation of it. Anyway, yeah, I found it really interesting. I mean, chaotic, frustrating, confusing, but also really interesting and thought-provoking.
I already gave 3.5 stars. I definitely would go to 4 easily. But you liked it more, obviously. But
well, and I think, I mean, I was trying to think about it too. I think I would probably give it 4 stars. Yeah, I mean, you know, if for me, Magnolia and even There Will Be Blood are both, to me, like, pretty close to perfect movies in their own way. This movie would definitely, there were, I mean, it wasn't a satisfying film, but it was a really
definitely slow paced.
Oh, very slow.
At times I was getting frustrated because I didn't know why we had to sit through this, basically, in parts of it.
And again, I think that was him messing with you. I mean, that was how I felt. I felt like PT is messing with me.